In cybersecurity, there's this constant battle every single leader faces. How do you move at the speed of an attack without, completely losing control? Today, we're going to dig into a framework that's designed to solve that exact dilemma.
This sentence, wow, it just cuts right to the heart of what modern security operations are all about. I mean, every response demands speed, right? But speed that's unchecked, that's just chaotic, well, it can be just as damaging as the threat itself. It's this fundamental conflict that teams are living with day in and day out.
So let's break this down. What does this dilemma actually look like in the real world? For the security teams out there, it really is this impossible choice where, honestly, either path you take leads to some pretty serious consequences. And this right here shows exactly why you just can't win with the old way of thinking. So say you choose that ungoverned speed. You rush, you might block the wrong IP, you might take a critical service offline, and boom, you've just caused your own outage. But okay, what if you go the other way? You opt for slow, methodical control. Well, the threat isn't going to wait for you. That breach just gets wider, the intrusion goes deeper, and the damage, it just multiplies. See, both paths lead to failure.
So, why does this painful choice even exist? Well, it all comes down to this one really crucial concept: the threat context gap. Just think of it like this: it's that time wasting, high pressure void where an analyst gets an alert, but they have zero situational awareness. What is this device? What's its job? What's its normal behavior? Having to answer all those questions manually, under the gun, that's what forces that terrible choice between acting fast and acting smart. So, what if we could just eliminate that gap? What if we could instantly connect an alert to the full picture needed to respond with confidence? That's the key. That's how we escape the dilemma. It all starts with closing this context gap.
And the solution really begins with automation. Instead of an analyst spending precious minutes, or let's be real, sometimes hours, manually piecing everything together, a security fabric does it instantly. The moment an alert fires, it automatically assembles the who, what, where, and when. And that single step, it fundamentally changes the entire equation. So, with that context gap closed, we can now move away from that chaotic, reactive scramble and into a structured, repeatable, and most importantly, a governed workflow for actually taking action. This new workflow, it's really a simple but powerful three-step process. First, assist. Because the system has all that context, it suggests intelligent, safe ways to mitigate the problem. Second, and this part is absolutely key, approve. A human expert validates the suggestion. See, this isn't about replacing expertise. It's about empowering it. And then finally, execute. Once it's approved, the system carries out the action, like isolating a host or kicking off a bigger containment plan. When you put those pieces together, automated context with a human-approved workflow, you get something truly transformative. You achieve what's basically the holy grail of security operations. You get governance at speed. This really creates a whole new standard for security response. Threat context is automatic, not manual. Every single action taken is audited, which creates a perfect record. And critically, all actions are bound by policies you've already approved, ensuring they align with the organization's rules. The ultimate result? Your CISO, your security leader, finally gets what they've always needed: the speed to beat the adversary without ever losing control of the environment. And this really brings us to the final critical question. The old way of thinking forced us into this trade-off, right? Speed or control. But by closing that context gap and enabling a governed workflow, that choice, it just becomes obsolete. So the question is no longer which one you should pick. It's why would you ever need to choose again?